So this is an RPG review channel, and when people send me interesting stuff, it at least has to have some RPG element to it. Usually that's not even an issue. I think 99% of the games I cover are obviously RPGs in some way or another, but occasionally I get something that claims to have RPG elements, and it's really up in the air as to whether or not that's true. This is one of those games. Raccoon Sky Pirates is a board game designed by Chris Sellers and published by Hectic Electron, and it says it's for 3 to 6 players, ages 14 and up, and it's part RPG. Well, the 3 to 6 players thing is absolutely correct. The 14 and up thing, I don't know. I actually found that it plays well with kids much younger than 14, which is a good thing. A 7-year-old and a 9-year-old were able to grasp the concepts and have a lot of fun with it, but you do have to have an adult sort of driving it. And as for the RPG aspects of it, maybe you can be the judge. I'll walk you through how this game works from top to bottom, and you can see for yourself if this game actually has enough role-playing in it to justify the RPG tag. I'll try to highlight every point or aspect of the game that I think is more RPG than board game throughout the video. One thing to note is that they sent me a prototype copy of this game, so there are some elements of the components and presentation that will improve in the final version, but this is largely what the game is going to look like. The premise of the game is this: you are a trash collecting animal, whether that be a rat, a possum, pigeon, roach, or a titular raccoon, and you are part of a team of trash animals whose main mission is to collect as much precious trash as possible. But also, you have a flying airship made of bolted together trash that you pop together at the beginning of every session. The composition of this airship is purely narrative, so that's actually one point towards RPGs right there. When you make your character, you're really just choosing from one of a stack of character boards, and each one has an option of 3 personal ambitions for the session. You just put a little box on the ambition that you want, and then you ask the player on your left one of these questions. And these questions differ between each character board, but it's a way to create more narrative fuel to work with and has no mechanical bearing on the game. So yeah, that's got to be another point in the RPG column. Everyone in the team picks a portrait card and is dealt 5 house disaster and 5 ship disaster cards that will come into play if you fail rolls, basically. Then you start in the junkyard on this empty hex board. The idea is to fly your junk ship to this house on the opposite side of the board, raid the house for as much stuff as you can grab, then fly back to the junkyard before accumulating more than 5 ship disaster cards. You can spend successful rolls to fix these disasters one by one, but you might also want to use a successful roll to steal trash from whichever hex you're on. When it's your turn, you roll a single d12, and depending on which approach you've selected for that turn, you will either roll a success or a failure. For example, if I choose cunning as my approach, and then I roll a 3, I would look to the table on my character board to see which approach is successful for that 3. Notice that rolling a 1 is going to be an automatic success because it encompasses all 3 approaches, and rolling a 12 is an automatic failure. And rolling a 12 also comes with putting a disaster card on either a ship or a house disaster track, depending on which phase you're in. Another team member could sacrifice one of their trash tokens to prevent that from happening though. Anytime you steal trash, you gain one of these heavy poker chips, and you actually write the name of the trash on the chip. The name of the trash is not really a mechanical feature of the game, but it does feed into the whole narrative side. While finding your way across the map, either directly or indirectly based on your rolls, you're all supposed to be narrating the action and filling things in with details, which is to say, that's the heart of this game's claim that it has RPG elements. For example, if a teammate rolls a 12 and is about to place a disaster card on the board, and you want to spend a trash chip to prevent that, you don't just spend the chip and move on. You read what's on the chip and describe the scene of how you used that garbage to save your buddy from that particular disaster on the card, which is all very storyteller gamey, or dare I say it, RPG-like. When you make it to the house in the second of the 3 phases, you actually get a trash chip on every turn, and you only leave the house when all 5 disaster card slots for the house fill up, which they eventually will no matter what. In that event, the owners of the house show up and chase you out. But until then, you're just roaming around the house willy-nilly, trying to pick up as many random pieces of trash as possible. If you make it back to the junkyard after that, then you win the game and you tally up the total trash chips remaining across all team members, as well as 1 point for every player who fulfilled their personal ambition. And then you get a score, and that's it. So in the end, RPGs are really on a spectrum. I think an RPG aspect is any game feature that emphasizes growth, identity, and decision making of a persistent character or party over the course of play. Games become more RPG-like as they focus on character progression, player choice, and role assumption. In contrast, games become less RPG-like when success depends primarily on player reflexes, fixed rules, or abstract strategy without persistent character development. Compared to board games, RPGs usually differ in that the player's capabilities improve through the character's abilities and choices rather than through the player's own skill or dice rolls. But there's this whole other aspect to RPGs that you largely don't see in board games, and that's storytelling. And that's pretty much where I think this game goes from a 0 on my RPG meter to maybe a 1 or even a 2. As long as everyone is leaning in and playing this game with its intended spirit, then every player is inhabiting a trash animal who not only has a personal ambition and at least one established relational connection with another team member, every single turn for every player involves painting a scene with description and imagination. It's not really a feature bolted onto the game, it's sort of the point of the game, while the physical components and the rules serve that storytelling purpose, at least the way I see it. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what makes an RPG, and if you'd like to see more coverage of games like this on the channel. Obviously, I don't want to veer into pure board games, but I'm always interested in where other games intersect with our genre. Remember to like and subscribe for more RPG reviews, and join the channel as a member for exclusive videos and content. Links for everything are below. I'll see you in the next one.